Wagwan Raptors family. Welcome to the It's a Raptors Ting podcast. This is your host, the Scholar Baller, and this week's episode is entitled The Grass Isn't Always Greener on the Other Side. So I'm sure many of you know what I'm already alluding to with this title, but in case you don't know, let me just get straight to it and right to the call-outs. I'm talking to you, Nick Nurse. I'm talking to you, James Harden. I'm talking to you, Daryl Morey. I'm talking to you, Philadelphia Sixers, the organization, the team, the fan base, the entire city, all right? The entire city that is Philly, okay? Looking at how abysmal this notion of trust the process. Oh yes, I'm going all the way back to that Sam Hinkie coined term, trust the process. You see, the reason why I never really liked that notion of trusting the process is because Philadelphia really went about it the wrong way. You see, you're supposed to get a franchise and you're supposed to build your franchise. All right? That's what basketball is about. All right? Even people playing fantasy basketball, are looking to build a franchise, let alone these big executives, GMs, owners, all these business people trying to make decisions, a lot of these people, they just don't know basketball. They don't know basketball. And it shows. I mean, at the end of the day, tanking, when you tank, you're only going to go down. You're not going to go up. And when you tank in a manner that is predicated on buying a bunch of players or getting star power or getting draft picks, it doesn't work out. Doesn't work out with the draft picks, i.e. Ben Simmons, i.e. Markelle Fultz, i.e. Nerlens Noel. The list goes on. It's I'm not going to rattle off their failed draft picks. And lest we forget, the people who they could have picked but didn't pick. But, it's not fair for me to play Monday morning quarterback, a.k.a. Judge people in hindsight, Little football analogy there. But back to the hardwood, the basketball court. And staying off the gridiron here, when you try to think that, because you have an all-time big man, for at least for this generation in Joel Embiid, that you can just pair him up with James Harden, one of the greatest shooting guards of this generation, and you think that, sure, that pick and roll will work. Well, it doesn't, all right? And your current MVP went up there on stage and he said, this is not the this is not the Houston James Harden. And it's like, yeah, we know. Tyrese Maxey is practically your second best player. But it's not really a surprise that James Harden is disgruntled. I mean, he wasn't a big fan of Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers. I have to laugh at that too. But he really wasn't a big fan of Doc Rivers, I mean, he basically just hung Doc Rivers out to dry, in that post-game presser. When they asked him, what do you think, or what's your relationship like, and how do you feel about him potentially being your coach? And he just gave, he basically gave the answer as though he was an NPC, okay? Like, he was not enthused about the idea of Doc Rivers. So it was not really a surprise that Doc Rivers got fired. But then you guys showed just how much you lack creativity, Philadelphia. You show how much you lack creativity. Why do you lack creativity? Well, what do we do now? We lost our coach. What should we do? Well, I don't know. Let's see. Let's hire the coach from the team that beat us on their finals run. And without any further thought, they hired Nick Nurse. Did you really think about what you were doing when you're hiring Nick Nurse? Your team is aging. Now, your team's not super old, but your team is aging. Now, why do I say that the team is aging? Because your team has a small championship window. That's why I'm putting them in that category of aging. And you mean to tell me that when you have two superstars on your team, both of which are growing more disgruntled by the day, you decide to get Nick Nurse, who loves to run the starters into the ground? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I don't even make probably a tenth of what some of these big business people make. I really don't, and that's not to put myself out on Front Street. It's not to put my financial business out there. But even I could have told you. And again, this is someone coming from the rival city, okay? I rep the Six. I got the interest of the Six at heart. I could care less about what you really do at Philly, but even I could have told you Nick Nurse was not the guy you get when you have two stars who are already very disenchanted and very disillusioned with what it's like to be in this league, haven't really won a championship, and you get a coach that isn't even going to rely on whatever team depth you have, but he's going to rely on the starters and play them heavy minutes. Do you really think James Harden wants to play heavy minutes? Do you? Does James Harden really seem like a guy right now who wants to play heavy minutes under Nick Nurse? Under anybody, really? And that's the thing. Some players can be quite delusional about their value, and they have to learn the hard way that they can't always get what they want. And Daryl Morey, you asked for James Harden, or rather, I guess you got him, and you didn't realize that through getting this guy right here and now, it wasn't suitable for the situation that you had in Philly. You can't take someone else's team, aka Joel Embiid's team, and turn it into James Harden's team. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. Why do you think James Harden was there maybe half the time in the playoffs? And he was barely there during the regular season. I mean, sure, he was physically there, but there was times when he was on the court where it was like he was just a ghost. He vanished. Anyways, my rant is done. All I can say is that I'm glad that the Raptors are, building something new, lots of fresh faces, trying to take things to new places. That's it for this week's episode of the It's a Raptors Ting podcast. Thank you for listening. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and be sure to hit the notification bell. This is your boy Scholar Baller from the Six from Toronto, saying it's a Raptors Ting, eh?